Suspension with Trinidad and Tobago is painful but necessary. Forging similar agreements with Caribbean states seems difficult. Grenada, St. Vincent and the Grenadines are also under siege by United States. Barbados reiterates quest for peace. Pedernales gas in Delta Amacuro state may be prioritized. Venezuelans repudiate regime change efforts by United States seeking to loot our natural resources. USS gravely docked in port of Spain, suggesting a maneuver for dragon gas exploitation of Trinidad and Tobago without Venezuelan consent. Our military will defend Caribbean. Trinidad and Tobago may not exploit dragon gas without paying Venezuela, as we do not allow looting. Constitutional government of Venezuela must be recognized as such. Dismissing our authorities as a regime does not constitute diplomatic language and damages relations. Royalties must be paid in cash from Trinidad and Tobago into PDVSA, which is not allowed by OFAC license, requiring Venezuela to accept looting. Under such conditions, it will not be possible to pursue Dragon gas deal. We look forward to alternative investment from Vietnam or India. OFAC restrictions have been imposed to Rosneft and Lukoil, in addition to PDVSA. Those are unilateral coercive measures unapproved by United Nations Charter. Russia, Venezuela, Iran, and other sanctioned countries will increase military and economic unity to defeat United States. Venezuela, Iran, and Russia hold geopolitical gains. Our militaries share intelligence and weapons across various continents. United States faces stiff resistances in areas that were supposed to be a sphere of influence. Deploying United States ship Gerald Ford risks its destruction by missiles. United States partnerships are quickly decaying. President Petro initiated procedures for removing foreign bases in Colombia, while President Sheinbaum welcomes new Russian helicopters and Chinese President Xi forthcoming visit. Venezuela domestic priority is countering invasion. Colombian, Canadian, and Mexican authorities announce United States departure from previous trade pacts. Diplomatic efforts are sought through non-aligned movements of nations to increase trade among ourselves while isolating United States, which will be defeated by Venezuela. Sheinbaum refuses to attend Organization of American States summit unless sanctions to Venezuela are lifted. Canada is increasing ties with China. Colombia is unifying its military with Venezuela for common defense against forthcoming United States aggression. Cuba teaches other countries how to resist coercion. Venezuela protects its massive natural resources from looting of foreign powers interested in promoting war. There is no hurry in opening their extraction to accommodate foreign corporations. Aggressive United States attitude against our constitutional government requires deterrence. Central intelligence agents unlawfully entered Venezuela. They will be arrested on charges of terrorism, while narratives of being political prisoners will be dismissed. United States Senator Bernie Moreno has requested magnicide against President Maduro. Venezuela priority is to win war. CIA entries into Venezuela have been announced by President Donald Trump. This awards Venezuelan authorities ample powers to arrest any suspicious activity related to foreign interference. Terrorists such as Leopoldo Lopez requesting invasion are being deprived of nationality. List of those in need of revocation of nationality is enormous. If they have settled abroad, they should adapt to their new country. Supreme Court of Justice will issue a ruling. Trump authorized CIA agents into Venezuela in violation of international law. CIA covert operations are not authorized by Venezuelan authorities, thus they are considered as an act of terrorism supporting United States war against various Latin American countries. United States must remove military assets from Caribbean. Bilateral security arrangements must be conducted between Prime Minister Kamla Persad-Bissessar and President Nicolas Maduro in state visit. Otherwise, Dragon Agreement will fail. OFAC terms of no payment to Venezuela is rejected. PDVSA so far says no. United Nations validates the constitutional government of Venezuela. Military escalation and provocation coordinated with the CIA are due to United States actions. Trinidad and Tobago has effectively ceased to exercise sovereignty in its territory. Its actions are supervised by the United States. Venezuela's executive vice president, recognized by the United Nations, offers an official version of her condemnation of the militarization of the Caribbean and the creation of war. What happened is not regional security cooperation. It is an explicit threat against Venezuela. The United States is not part of the Caribbean region. Venezuela shares borders with Trinidad and Tobago, a country that deserves security. Trinidadian fishermen are being killed because of these bad agreements. Trinidadian fishermen have been killed by United States military due to this criminal militarization supported by Trinidad and Tobago. Bilateral dialogue between Venezuela and two enemy countries has proven impossible. Escalation continues with the USS Gerald Ford heading to the Caribbean. Monroe Doctrine is a domestic United States opinion dating back to 1823, repealed in 1945 by United Nations Charter. Venezuela will act militarily for as long as necessary in self-defense until death of as many invaders as necessary. Our sovereignty is not surrendered. Trinidad and Tobago's replication is buried in CIA's agenda, reiterating alleged friendship with Venezuelan people. It is mistakenly assumed that foreign intervention would be welcomed by Venezuelan people. There is risk of maritime plunder. They are too interested in dragon gas. Statement of the Bolivarian Republic of Venezuela. Venezuela denounces a military provocation by Trinidad and Tobago in coordination with the CIA aimed at provoking a war in the Caribbean. The Bolivarian Republic of Venezuela denounces before the international community the dangerous military exercises being carried out by the government of Trinidad and Tobago between the 26th and 30th of this month of October, under the coordination, financing, and control of the United States Southern Command, an action that constitutes a hostile provocation against Venezuela and a serious threat to peace in the Caribbean. Venezuela reports that it has captured a mercenary group with direct information from the United States Intelligence Agency, the CIA, determining that a false flag operation is underway from waters bordering Trinidad and Tobago, or from either Trinbagonian or Venezuelan territory, intended to generate a full-scale military confrontation against our country. This planned action clearly evokes the provocations of the USS Maine and the Gulf of Tonkin incidents, which led to the war against Spain to seize Cuba in 1898, and later enabled the United States Congress to authorize a war against Vietnam in 1964. Conflicts from which the United States emerged defeated by the Vietnamese people after causing immeasurable destruction and tragic human losses. The government of Prime Minister Kamla Persad-Bissessar has renounced the sovereignty of Trinidad and Tobago to act as a military colony subordinated to United States hegemonic interests, turning its territory into a United States aircraft carrier for war throughout the Caribbean, against Venezuela, against Colombia, and against all of South America. By aligning itself with Washington's militarist agenda, Persad-Bissessar not only seeks to attack Venezuela, a country that has always maintained a policy of energy cooperation, mutual respect, and Caribbean integration, and that shares deep historic ties of brotherhood, but also violates the Charter of the United Nations, the proclamation of Latin America and the Caribbean as a zone of peace approved by CELAC, and the principles of CARICOM, which protect all Caribbean peoples. This is not a defensive exercise. It is a colonial operation of military aggression intended to transform the Caribbean into a space of lethal violence and United States imperial domination. This submissive and treacherous policy, betraying the constitutional principles of Trinidad and Tobago, has ultimately struck its own people. Innocent fishermen have fallen victim to extrajudicial executions in the Caribbean Sea, revealing the repressive and criminal nature of the current government, which orders its own people to be shot under the command "kill them all," and celebrates when Trinbagonian citizens are summarily executed while opening its doors to foreign invading troops. Venezuela does not accept threats from any United States puppet government. We are not intimidated by military exercises or war rhetoric. The Bolivarian National Armed Force will remain alert and mobilized in perfect popular military police unity in the face of this grave provocation. A republic heir to Bolivar and Chavez will always defend its sovereignty, territorial integrity, and its right to live in peace against foreign enemies and their vassals. Venezuela has clearly informed the government of Trinidad and Tobago about the CIA-directed false flag operation attacking a United States military ship stationed on the island, and then blaming Venezuela to justify an aggression against our country. It is the same imperial script as the main ship and the Gulf of Tonkin, fabricating a conflict to impose interests alien to our region. Venezuela is acting firmly and responsibly. A CIA-funded criminal cell linked to this covert operation is being dismantled on our territory. We hope that Trinidad and Tobago will do the same and not allow its territory to be used for maneuvers that threaten the peace of the Caribbean. We respect the people of Trinidad and Tobago and trust their conscience to prevent their country from being dragged into a dirty war operation. Venezuela will not fall for provocations, but let no one be mistaken. We will defend our sovereignty without hesitation. Prime Minister Kamla Persad-Bissessar must assume her responsibility to the Caribbean and to history. Either she stands for peace or she sinks into the CIA's agenda. Given the current situation of provocations with false flag actions targeting United States military installations and equipment, Venezuela has denounced these attacks for the necessary attention of international organizations. The intention is to establish a hydrocarbon war in Latin America and the Caribbean, which threatens its peace and stability. Venezuelan government rejects statements of the Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago, Kamla Persad-Bissessar, who has celebrated the deaths of her own citizens who were killed in the attacks perpetrated by the United States government against vessels in the Caribbean. The leadership of the Ministry of People's Power for Hydrocarbons, as well as its operator PDVSA, has decided to propose to President Nicolas Maduro Moros the immediate termination of the Energy Cooperation Framework Agreement between the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago and the Bolivarian Republic of Venezuela, and consequently, the suspension of all gas agreements the country maintains with the Caribbean nation.